Hi guys, this is Fazan and welcome to today's session on practice codes for beginners in C++. So before I start, can you guys quickly confirm in the chat if I'm audible or not? Is everything okay? Can you see me? Can you see the screen? Can you see the slide deck? If everything is okay, just give me a quick confirmation in the chat so that we can get this session going. And in the meanwhile, while we wait for others to join, let me give you a quick tour of how our academy looks like. Okay, so when you go into the Google Chrome or any browser, so just type in Great Learning Academy. The first link is there. Just click on it. It will redirect you to this page wherein you will have all the popular courses and all the courses that there are. Okay, and all these courses are for free. And if you're looking for some advanced PG programs that are also there, therein we have data science, artificial intelligence management is there, cloud computing, software development, everything. Okay, so in terms of free courses, the popular courses are there. Digital marketing, so it has the time is also written there. If you can see, 1.5 hours. So this is all just to get you guys started. Okay, so these are all the popular courses. If you're looking for something that is specifically in terms of IT and software, therein we also have courses such as data structures, algorithms, Java, C++, right? All these courses are there. And if you're someone who is loving Hindi language, so there are courses also available in Hindi. Those are Python programming in Hindi, C programming, C++, React.js, R is there, AWS is there. So all these courses are available here. And if you want to know what are the live sessions that we have planned this week, those are also there. Just scroll down, you can see the live session that I'm taking right now, and you can view all the live sessions. If you have missed some live sessions, those also will be there, and you guys can click it. And once if you are interested in getting the full certification completion certificate in these courses, so you just go through the course, complete it, and at the end you will have a quiz in which you have to answer 6 questions correctly out of 10 in order to get the completion certificate. Okay, with that being said, so I can see some yeses. Okay, cool. If I'm looking on this side, that means I'm looking on your chat, guys. Okay, so don't worry. So cool. Okay, fine. So let's get started. So today we are going to I'm going to build upon something, then we are going to code it out. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, let's try to understand. Okay, first of all, let's try to understand what is C++. So basically it is a mid-level language. What do you mean by this? Because it is associated at low level, that means the driver, kernel creations and all those internal things, right? As well as the high level applications such as graphic user interface, desktop apps, right? So it is a mid-level language, right? It's a compiled type language. What do you mean by this thing? That you have, once you have written your code, you need to compile it, right? It's not that it is something that is pre-compiled, right? It is a machine independent, but at the same time it is platform centric or platform dependent. Okay, it when you're dealing with competitive programming, right, wherein you just need to code out the problem, therein this language is used predominantly as compared to Java. Why? Because of its speed. The executions are very fast. Okay, so this is the speedy execution that are possible in C++ with some libraries. STL is there, right? So all those helps a lot. So it's an object oriented programming language, right? And it supports obviously classes and objects, right? It supports pointers, which leads to directly access memory, right? If you have a pointer, that means that you are directly accessing some address, right? It makes sense, right? But although there are some drawbacks, and we can accidentally access some memory location which doesn't need to be changed or manipulated, right? It's a case sensitive language, and it is used in gaming applications, right? I will talk about applications as well, right? It's a first choice when you talk about competitions, right? So competitive programming, when you are coding a lot and you have lead code and all those things are available there, right? Lead code, geeks for geeks, and you see the most commonly used language is C++. Because why? Because of its speedy executions, right? And it's easier and less complex. The syntax of this language C++ is much more less complex. Okay, you can say it is very easy to understand. Okay, Cool. So now what are the applications? So you can use C++ in terms of building operating systems like Windows. It is some part of it is written in C++. Okay. Web browsers like Chrome, Firefox. Okay. Graphic engines like Adobe, Unisoft, Unreal, Zynga. All these are applications of C++. Okay. So you have okay guys, so I might not be able to see your chat. Okay, so just a minute, I'll just because there's a power cut at my place. Just a minute guys. Okay, let me just close down my screen so it is easier for you to understand. Okay, so I will just wait a minute. Cool. So now let me just open my phone and see your chat. Okay, cool. So okay, done, right? So now what we are going to do, then we have these databases available, right? So MongoDB, MySQL, all these are written in C++. We have cloud and distributed system developments. Some part of it is also written in C++. Okay, cool. So if you have any questions regarding this, so then we will shift ahead. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat. Okay. Okay, I can see, I cannot see some questions. So, okay, cool. So now let's start. Okay, I have your chat as well. So now let's start. Okay, cool. So now this is the application. Now let's try to write our first program and let's try to demystify what are the things that are there in it. Okay, so the first thing that you might be thinking, okay, why do we write this using namespace SDT? So basically, we will get into its details later, right? So for now, it is something that is used for namespacing. Okay, so we'll talk about this more in this session, but for now you can skip it or you can just, well, let's put a star in it and we'll cover it in the later part. Now what does this include? Has include IOStream. So basically it is a library, right? And in this library we have what? In this library we have the C in and C out. You see the C in and C out, all these things that are used for printing out or getting input from the user. This C out is basically available with the help of these libraries. So we need to include, because we haven't defined this, right? We haven't defined these terms. So basically with the help of these IO stream, this is where we get this thing from, okay, for pushing the output or getting input. Okay, so now this is the thing that you need to include. Okay, done. Then what happens? Then what's the next thing? So this is the int main, that means you're returning something, and this is the driver function, right? This is where your execution begins, right? And it is must to have int as your return type. Okay, why? Because this returning 0 means that everything is done and your program has executed successfully. So you just return this 0, and now you're returning something that is an integer, so that is why you have this int over here. Okay, done. And what about this statement? This is for printing out anything on your console, which you see when you execute this file, that is your exe file. We'll talk about when you compile your program, it will give you an exe file. That is why C++ is a compiled language, compiled type language, because you compile it and you will get this exe file, right? And now once you will execute this, and it will give you the output as hello world. Okay, so this is due to the fact that we are using this C out. What about getting the input? So we'll talk about that as well. Okay, done. Okay, how we will get the study material? It will be shared in the chat itself. Okay, in the chat you will get the study material as well, so don't worry about it. Okay, so done. So this is your first C++ program. Okay, everything done. Now let's see, the next thing is comments. Now let's talk about this comments. What is this comment and why do we need it, and how it helps, and how do we write these comments? So basically comments are lines that are ignored by the compiler. Okay, so compiler ignores them, right? They are not at your output. When you run your program, you cannot see these things. By why? But you might be thinking, okay, when we can't see this, why is it important? It is important to make notes and provide details. Let's suppose you are stuck in some line of code, and after a few minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, you got the solution. Now you want to remember it in your, obviously in your own program, right? Why not just put a comment and say, okay, this is the error I was getting because of this pre-increment operator that I was using, and this is the error. So you make it more detailed for yourself, obviously, and for the one, let's suppose now you are in a industry and you want to share your code. At that time, if a simple comment is written, right, let's suppose you are not following any naming convention, but if you put a uh, simple comment saying that, okay, this is a function which adds two values, so it helps the second person who is watching your code or who is iterating through your code knows that, okay, this is the function call. Okay, so this is the function and it helps us to add this thing. Okay, so this is why. And now how it helps, it is that single line comments that you write double slash, okay, and then you have multi-line comments with the help of this backslash and then the asterisk sign, and whatever you will write, even if you are writing it in multiple lines, it will still show you. Okay, done. So what is C++ programming used for microcontrollers? Is yes, yes, Vittal. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, cool. So now what happens? Okay, we are glad. Okay, cool. So now, if you're writing it in multiple lines, why not go through, write this thing, and whatever you're writing in this, then put an asterisk sign and then close it. Okay, done. Now let's see how we are doing it. So if you see that I have written here an example, and in this I am writing this is a multiple line comment. Okay, multiple line comment, and in this that this is the name, hello world, author is great learning. So these things will not be displayed on your screen. Okay, now what about this thing? This thing we'll discuss later. And what about these headers? So headers, that means that this is the file that we are including. Why? Because we are using the cout statement, and this is these things are already being explained. But when you run this program, you see these comments, this single slash comments, right? Let me erase this. So you see this double slash, this double slash, this double slash. These are all single line comments. Okay, and what about this? This is a multiple line comments, because you are writing it in 2 lines or 3 lines. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So now this is the example for comments. Now what is the next thing? The next thing is that what are variables? So I'm writing this, I'm putting out this session in such a way so that it is easy for you to first understand what is it, and then we will try to code it out. Okay, so comments is done, right? So now let's see what are variables. So the things that you should know about variables is that what is it, why should we use it, and what is the syntax, how you can write it. Okay, so what, why, and how are the most important things, right? So what is a variable? So it's a memory reference whose value changes during execution. Now you might be thinking, okay sir, we have constants as well whose value did not change, so that's a different thing, right? But if you talk about a variable, it's whenever you are executing this, its value might change or might not change. Okay, you can say that. Okay, and it's just a memory reference whose value changes during execution. And now why is it important? Because it makes memory handling easy. Now you're not directly accessing 502, this is the hexadecimal number, most it can be said that is a hexadecimal number, that is the address of the memory, and now you're directly accessing that memory. No, you're having a much easier way to handle that memory with the help of this variable. Okay, makes memory accessing easy, makes, you can reuse that just by, okay, now you have this x that is referring to this memory location. You can now, earlier it was having 5 value, now it's having 10 value, so you can reuse the same memory location as well, right, with different values, right? That is what is the most right, that is what a variable does. Its value can change. Now if something is constant, that it doesn't change. Okay, that's a different ball game. Okay, so makes referencing values easier, right? It is, if you're referring to this memory location, you can easily refer it with the help of this x variable, and then you can just play around this x, maybe try to find a program, right? Try to write a program wherein you are trying to find the greatest number between 3 numbers, right? All those things can be done easily, right? So this is why. Now what about this, what the syntax? So it is, syntax is very easy. So you just have to, you just need to initialize. First let's talk about initialization, then talk about assignment. Okay, so for initialization you need data types. We'll talk about these data types, what is it and how you can use it, and what are the different types of data types. So you have a data type and then the variable name. what is the name of the variable. Now, what is data types? We will talk about these. Let's suppose our data type is int. That means you can only store integer values. From negative, it can be negative or it can be positive. Okay. So now you have this integer as data type, and then the name of that variable is x. So this is nothing but your initialization. What about the assignment? So whenever you're assigning something to this x, so let's suppose x is equal to 5. This is the value and this is the variable name, right? This is your assignment and this is your initialization. Done. So if you have any questions, just keep your questions posted in the chat, guys. I am continuously looking at your chat, guys, so you don't have to worry. Just keep posting. If you don't understand anything, it's okay. So I'm continuously monitoring the chat. Okay. Okay, cool. So now let's try to see a little program regarding this. So how we can what is happening here? We are doing initialization and we are assigning at the same line, in the same line. So we have int a equal to 10. So this is data type, this is the variable name, this is the assignment operator that we are using. We'll talk about operators as well, and this is the value. Okay, so this is initialization and assignment in the same line. Similarly, what is this? This is again the same thing that we are doing, but this time we are using a different data type, that is float. That means if you are having some decimal numbers, right, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, right, all those things can be stored in this floating point, a floating data type. And now you have b, and this is 20. So now what we are doing, we are outputting it. So we are doing a plus b. So can anyone tell me what will be the value of this 10 plus 20? What will be the value? Quickly, guys, what will be the value? Just write it in the chat. So just keep one thing in mind, that one of the variable or the data type that is associated with a is integer, but with b it is float, right? It is not integer, it is float. And I have accidentally or intentionally or unintentionally put a value that is not okay. Arup Raja says, Arup Jan says 30.00. okay. Ashwini Rajput says 30. Okay. Any more guys? Anyone else can just answer this question? So you need to keep one thing in mind, that we are not using, yes, 30.0. okay, we have answers. Okay, cool. So we are using this thing, right? This is an integer and this is a floating point. So it will be something that is 10 plus 20.0, because floating point does this thing. And now when you're adding this, it will never be 30, it will be 30.0, right? Okay, it will not be 30, guys. Okay, cool. So now let's move ahead and let's talk about this input and output, wherein we will get this C in and C out into picture. Okay, so now if you talk about this thing, right, so in C++, right, we have a concept of streams, right, for user inputs and outputs, wherein you can input wherein you can write something, and then C out is something that is used for standard output stream. Okay, so stream is nothing but an entity where program can either insert or extract values to and from. Okay, so basically you are trying to insert some values, you will use cin, and then you are trying to extract some values, you will use cout. There is no need to know the details about the media associated to this stream or anything, right? We are not saying that okay, what is happening internally. We are just using these things, right? These streams, cin and cout. We don't care about what internally happens or any internal specifications, that we are not dealing with that thing. We just use these things because this is the standard input stream and standard output stream. This is the ease of using and including that IO streams, right? These are the two streams that help us a lot in terms of what, getting the input and printing out that input. Okay, so let's see a program, right? If you see this program, right, we have this int a and b. What is this? This is just your declaration or your initialization, and we haven't initialized it or assigned, an assignment is not done. But what we are doing, we are using cout. That means this will be printed out on the console, enter your value. So you have this, right? Now we are not using any break line, so we have the semicolon over here, and then what, our cursor is still here, right? And then what we are doing, we are using cin, right? The cin is where you want your user to fill in some values. Now what he does, he inputs 10, right? Done. Now the second thing, that then there's a break line, because that will be assigned, that is something that is internally done in cin statement. Okay, done. Then C out, enter a number. Now again happens what, enter, you are entering another number, that is 20, that is in your B, right? You are saying your end user that please enter some value, or please enter a number. He inputs 20. Done. This is the thing that helps us with the help, that is done with the help of cin. Okay, this is the input stream, right? Done. And what about the output? Then what we are doing, we are doing sum of two numbers is, right? This is the sum of two numbers is, and then a plus b. This time around both of these a and b are integer, so you have 10 and you have 20. Now this time around it will be 30 and not 30.0. Okay, is this thing clear? Quickly guys, just confirm in the chat. I want this session to be as interactive as possible, so that everything is understood by you guys. Quickly just confirm in the chat if everything is okay. Cool, cool. So now let's start. Now let's talk about data types, right? Now you might be thinking, okay, so what we are using, this int, float, and char is there, right? What are these? These are nothing but data types. Now there are several types of data types, right? Some are called primitive, another are called derived, and then we have user defined. Okay, so now let's focus on primitive data types, that are built-in data types that we have. Okay, we have some yeses. Okay, cool. So now we have these primitive data types wherein we can these are inbuilt, and you don't have to explicitly derive it, or you don't have to define these things, right? So those are Boolean, right? Character is there, integer is there, floating point is there, double, wide character. Okay, so these are all your primitive data types. What about derived data types? Okay, so these are inbuilt. Okay, derived are built from built-in data types, so this has a dependency on this thing. Okay, primitive data types, okay, or built-in data types. So for example, you have array, which is nothing but a collection of what you say, a collection of variables, which can be an integer, which can be of type integer, float, char. Okay, so it is nothing but derived from this thing, right? Primitive data types. Are you getting this, guys? Can you please explain again? Manisha, what is that you want me to explain again? Can you just quickly write? And in the meantime, are you guys able to understand this thing? Right, so I'm saying that derived are dependent on primitive. Okay, this array is something that has a dependency on what, it can be an integer array, it can be a floating point array, Boolean array, floating point array, double array. Okay, so these are all derived data types. Similarly, function, pointer, a pointer is something that is associated with addresses, something that is let's suppose if you have a pointer, that means if you have integer a, right, and you want to store the address of that a, you will use a pointer. So again, it has a dependency on primitive data type. Okay, so all these things are derived data types. And what about user defined? So this is something that you define, and this is something that, let's suppose you are defining a structure wherein you can have different types of what, primitive data types. Let's suppose you have an integer x, then you have a floating point y, and then you have not even x and y. You can say that roll number is there, you can say that salary is there, you have a character array, you can say okay, we have a name character array, right? So all this is a structure, and you are defining it. You are responsible for whatever you want to store in the structure. Do you want to store a three data members in that? Why function is a data type? Because function has a dependency, right? In that function you are trying to let's suppose you created some values, right? You created some values, let's suppose you have integer, float, char, and then you are manipulating it, right? Let's suppose you have a function of adding two numbers. What are the arguments that you send? There's those will be anything, or even if you're not doing anything in that, still you are using, well, let's suppose, then it doesn't make sense if you're not doing anything in the function. But let's suppose you have a function wherein you are just adding two numbers. Again, it has a dependency on primitive data types. You have integer a, you have integer b, then you're adding it, or you can send it in a way that you are sending it as a parameter, wherein you will get it and multiply or add it and then return it. Again, it has a dependency on what, primitive data types. Okay, cool. So now This is these are all the three different types of data types. Okay, Apur, Arup, is this thing clear? Why function is a data type? Okay, so now let's move. It's a derived data type, not a data type. Okay, not a primitive data type. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's see the example. Okay, so you have a stream or a keyword that is size of, which is responsible for getting the size of the or the number of bytes any data type can take. Okay, let's see this. You have this program over here. In this program, what you're doing, you are just printing out the fundamental or the data type size of fundamental data types. Okay, so what are those? Character, short, int, long, float, double, long double, and boolean. So what is the size of the character? Can anyone tell me? Okay, great. So quickly just write in the chat one by one, or you can just club these three together. Okay, just club these three together. What is the size of char in bytes? What is the size of short? And what is the size of int? And then long. Okay, quickly these three things can be clubbed together. Then we have something that is unsigned and signed. Obviously they will have the same size, but yes, so the range varies. The therein you have, let's talk about a character, and if it is an unsigned character, therein negative part will be removed, right? And it is, if it is unsigned, so you will have a range. Its range will vary from 0 to 255. Okay, because a character can only take 1 byte. Okay, good Arup. I came here by mistake. Okay. Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay, so what happens? It is 1 byte, and then its range will vary from 0 to 255. Or if it is no, Ayushi, it's not 4 byte. Okay, so short is 2. Okay, so now integer and long, all the int and long will have 4 bytes. Okay. Okay. Arup says 32-bit, 4 int 4. Okay. Yes, it has a dependency on that, the system that you're using. Okay. Int 4, float 4. Okay. Good. So long will be again 4, right? And long will still have 4. Float is 4 bytes, double is 8, long double is again 16, and then bool is 1. Okay. Okay guys, so what I'm doing, so I will the slide deck or the material that I'm using will be shared with you. Just copy paste it in any of the ID you have, Geeks for Geeks, and go through it. Okay, yes Arup, here it is double. Okay, cool. So now these are all the data types and the keyword or the operator that helps us to do or find out the size of these things, right? Just a minute guys. The operator that helps us to find the size is size of. Okay, cool. Okay, so just copy paste it in any IDE. You don't have to download anything. Okay, or you can use code blocks, or you can use Dev C++. Just type, or even if you don't want to download anything, just use Geeks for Geeks and just paste your code there. Okay, and you will find all the values, and you just see the difference, right? Even if you're using, if you have a character, right, it's 1 byte, and if you're using unsigned, right, so it will range from 0 to 255. If you have what, a signed integer, then it will range from 127 to minus 127 to 128. Okay, so Uzair Khan, that's all right. Okay, cool. I just joined, I'm new to program. Okay, it's no problem, Uzair, no problem. Cool. So now let's move ahead and let's talk about operators. So operators is what let's if you talk about operators, these are basic things, right? And every programming language have these operators. So first is an arithmetic operator, wherein your these things come into picture, right? Addition, multiplication, division, modulus, all those things come into picture. And now it's a binary operator. Why? Because you need two operands, that is 5 plus 6, right, or 5 plus 4, right? You need two operands. These are operands, so this is why it is known as binary. Okay, now you have some operators which do not require another operand. that those are called unary operators. So let's suppose you have this a plus plus, right, or b minus minus, and or minus minus b, although internally it happens that you're doing the same thing, a equal to a plus 1, right? This is the increment, this is post increment, or this is something that is known as pre decrement. So these are your urinary operators. That means it does not require the second operator, it works on a single operand. Okay, and similarly these things works on two operands. That is why it is known as binary operator. So therein you will have your modulus operator as well. Okay, so this is used for mathematical and arithmetic operations, right, that you do. So let's suppose you want to know increment and decrement. Yes, Kashyap. Okay, so these are all those operators, arithmetic operators. But is this it? No, there are some operators that are known as relational operators. And what does this mean? This means that you are checking for the equality, or you're checking for, is this the value greater than or less than, right? So again you will be using two operands. Okay, so let's suppose you're using 5. Is 5 greater than 4? Yes, it is. You will have some value. Is 4 less than 5? Yes, it is. So you're using this less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, all those things, and equal to, right, to check the equality. So all these things are known as relational operators. What about this logical operator, wherein you are checking the condition? We'll talk about if condition, if block. Then, sir, what is the difference between pre and post increment? Okay, Kacha. Okay, Kashyap, let's focus on that first. Okay, so let's clear it out. So when you're talking about pre-increment or and post-increment, right? Therein what happens, this is, let's suppose this is 5, and what happens over here, this is increment. That means first increment the value. This is pre-increment. First increment the value and then assign it to a. That means you are incrementing it, it becomes 6, and then you're assigning it. Okay, now if you're using this in a printf statement or cout statement, okay, so now what you're doing, you're trying to print plus plus a, and in the same in the next line what you're doing a plus plus. So and your a is equal to 5. Now in this case what happens, you are incrementing it first and then assigning it to, okay, sorry, in this statement what happens, cout, you're doing what, you're doing plus plus a, and your a is having 5, and here what you're doing, cout, and you're doing a plus plus. Okay, so in this what happens, you're incrementing it first, that is 6, and then assigning it to 6 a. So here you will get your value as 6 as expected. But in over here what happens, it means first assign the value and then increment. Here you will get the output as 6 and not 7. But if you're printing your a in the next line, here you will get it 7, because here what happened, here we assigned it first and then incremented it. Okay, Kashyap, is this clear? Is this thing clear, guys? So quickly just confirm in the chat. Quickly, guys, just confirm in the chat if this thing is clear, and we will move ahead. Kashyap, is this thing clear? Yes, 6 6. Yes, Arup. And in the next line, when you're trying to print a, you will get 7. Okay, so this is your relational operator. But what about these logical operators? What happens in this? In this, you're checking the condition or constraints that you can apply. So let's suppose you want to do you want to know if a person is eligible for driving. So what you will do, obviously you should be greater than, there is no there is no the upper limit, but yes, there is a lower limit, that he should be above 16 or equal to 16, let's suppose. Okay, and we don't want old people, sorry, we don't want the guys who are aged, we don't want them to drive. So we are keeping the lower upper bound as well. Let's suppose we are keeping it to 60. We want the person only if he can only drive if his age lies in this parameter. So this is the operator that we are using, logical and we are using, right? So both of these statements should be true, or conditions should be true, or constraints should be true, right? Okay, cool. So now when this thing is clear, when these two conditions are true, only then he can drive. So a, that means the name of the person, the age of the person is greater than 16 and less than or equal to 60, only then he can drive. And this is known as logical and, right? And both of these statements should be true. This is your logical and. But what if I just changed this? What if I just change this thing to what? If I just changed this to or, okay? So now in that case, scenario will change. If a is greater than 16, that means if a is 70, but obviously he should be less than 60, but that is not the case here. But still he will be able to drive, because logical or works in such a fashion that even if one of the statements or conditions, these are one condition, this is condition 1 and this is condition 2, even if one of the condition is true, still he will be able to drive. So we cannot use this or over here in this case, obviously, right? So now there is another logical operator that is not, which just reverses the condition, right? If it is true, it will make it false, or if it is false, it will make it true. Okay, that's it. So this is your logical operator. But there are some other operators which work on bit level. That means if you're talking about 5, now its bit level means that you're converting this 5 into binary, and its binary will be 101, right? 124, right? 101 is its binary. I'm excluding the fact that there will be a series of zeros up to, obviously when we're talking about 32-bit operating system, there will be 4 bytes, and each byte will contain 8 bits, and those trailing zeros will be there. I'm not dealing with those things, I'm just dealing with these three places. Okay, so 101 is the binary. Now bit level means that at each level we will be doing some operations, right? Whenever you're using this and on, or if you're using this or, so this is a bitwise operator. That means if I'm using this 5 and 1, right, what will be the output? So we are doing internally, what happens, we are converting this 5 into 101, that is its binary, and then when I'm using this bitwise operator and then what it does, it checks if this bit and this bit is same. Okay, if this bit and this bit is same in and, what happens, if both the bits are same, you will get 1, and in this case you will get nothing. This is 0 0, right? And in this case you will get 0 0. So whenever you're doing 5 and 1, you will get the output as 1. Okay, so it happens that this operator is used mostly in when you're doing competitive programming. Herein you won't be able to understand that much what is its significance, but whenever you're doing mathematical operations, therein this becomes handy. Let's suppose I told you, okay, can you just give me tell me if a number is odd or even. Okay, what you will do, you will just divide it by 2. If you get the remainder as 0, then you will say this is even. But same thing can be done with the help of what? Bitwise operator. So if I'm doing a and 2, and in this a and if a and 1 is equal to what? 1, or if it is equal to 0, now what happens internally it will be converted to 101, and then I'm doing and you will get 1 as your output and not 0. So you can say that, okay, this is an even, this is an odd number. But what happens if you're doing the same with 6? So if you have 6, you will have 1 1 and 0. Let me just clear out my screen. So now if I'm using this 101, that is 6, and I'm doing and if I'm checking if it's 0, yes it is. So I can easily say that this 6 is my even number. Obviously you can do it by dividing it by 2 as well. Okay, done. So this is your bitwise operators. First converted it into binary, and then we are performing operations on bit level. Okay, so it is used in mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all of these are performed in at bit level. These operations are performed at bit level, so it will be faster as compared to normal division, okay, or addition. Okay, so these are all bitwise operators. But what about assignment operators? So basically assignment operator is this when we are trying to assign something, right? And suppose I told you, hey, this is an a and you're assigning a plus 1, right? So you're assigning this value to this the operand on the left hand side, and the operand that is assigned to this is on the right hand side. So this is your assignment operators. This is nothing but this can be written as a equal to plus equal to 1. So this is the same thing that is written, a equal to a plus 1. So these are all the shortcuts, so you can say that. Okay, the value on the right hand side must be of same data type. Obviously when you're trying to add these things and you want your values to be valid, you will just to be on the safe side, you will use the same data type. Okay, Done. These are all your assignment operators. Now let's see the program and let's see what will be the output. So you have A, B, C and C is equal to 0. A and B are not initialized. Okay. So then you will say, okay, enter the value, and then what you will say, okay, I entered 5 and these are integers, so I entered 5 again. So this thing is done. Then what we are doing, you're doing unary operator and you're doing plus plus A and B plus plus. What will be the output here, guys? Quickly. If I'm having 5 and in B, I will also have 5. What will be the output? Kashyap, Sharmila, Arup, Ashwini, Diya, Kachap, Uzair. Quickly, guys. Kashyap. Okay, 6 and 5. Okay, cool. Okay. Diya says 6 and 5. Yes, Diya, 6 and 5. But what happens in here? What will be the output in this? Let's name it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what will be the output in first? It will be 6, 5, right? Yes, 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 yes. Not 5, 6, Anil. 6, 6, 5. Okay. So in the next step, yes, yes, Arup. Okay, great. So now what will be the answer at the what will be the answer of second step? That is this. I have named these things. What will be this on output here? It will be, quickly, guys. What will be the output here? Okay, good. 12. Yes, exactly. Exactly, it will be 12, right? Because in the next step, B will be incremented to 6 and 6 plus 6 is 12. What happens over here? This is something that is known as ternary operator. Okay, this is similar to using if block, right? If this is the if this is diff condition is true, then do some stuff, else do this. Okay, similarly that can be done in here as well. No, no, Kashyap, 11 is not the right answer. Arup, 6 is not the right answer. 11 is not the right answer. 12 is the right answer. Ashwini, okay, because it is post increment. So here, after this step, it will be incremented to 6, right? So let's clear it out and let's put me, this is done, right? And now what happens this is 6. If 6 is greater than 6, right, then print A, else print B. Okay, so either in any case our answer will be still 6, but we will go into this, we will be printing this value of B, not A. Okay, so that thing you should be clear of. Okay, so what happens in this case? Relational operator, is A less than B? No, A is not less than B. So what will be the output? What will be the output here? Yes, yes, Arup. Next step, 6. Okay. Quickly. So this thing is done, right? What will be the output in this case? Step 4. Is A greater than B? Yes, exactly. 0, right? Yes, yes, yes. Good. So now what happens in this case? True and false. What will be the output here? True and true, what will be the output here? And true and false, what will be the output here? So what will be the output in this step number 5? Quickly, guys. There is a space as well, so you can just have something output, then a space, then output, then a space, then output. Quickly. None. Uzair, why you saying none? 0, 1, 1. Okay, true and false will be 0, true and true will be 1, and true and false will be 1. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Step 5, 0, 1, 1. True, true, false. It will be 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, right? Not true, true. You won't get output as this, but yes, it is 0, 1, 1. Okay, Pramod, no, 1, 1, 0 is wrong. This is an and. This is and, logical and. Both of these statements should be true. So in this case you will get 0, and then here you will get 1, and this is OR, you will get 1. Okay, I don't know, just a guess. Okay, okay, no problem, no problem. So is this thing clear now to you, Uzair? Even if you don't know now, is this thing clear? I've already discussed what are these operators: relational operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, right? So one by one, let's clear this screen now. So this thing is done, this is done, this is done. Now what about this thing, A or B? Then we have a space, then we have A and B. What will be the output here? Both A and B are currently 6 and 6. Okay, so what will be the output? Quickly guys, Dia, Pramod, Ashwini, Imran. Okay, give yourself some time, Uzair. It's okay. Okay, it's okay. No, you will understand one by one. Just go through this session once again. And now, if you once you have the hold, then we have courses available on C and as well as C++. If you are looking for something that is in obviously that if you are looking for something that is if you want to learn C, there is a course. If you want to start with in my opinion, if you want to just start learning programming, just start with C and then shift yourself to C++, Python or Java. Okay, okay, some of you say 6611. Okay, so now what will be the output? Let's try to demystify it. So obviously it will be converted to what, binary, right? And now it will be 10110, and then we have OR 110. So this will be 0, this will be 1, this will be 1. So you will have again value as 6. In this case, what is 110 and 110? Now this time around you have AND. Okay, so you will have 0 and you have 1 and 1. Again it will be 6 6. Okay, so it will be 6 and 6, not what 1 and 1. Okay, this time around you won't be getting true and false, you will be getting the number, obviously, because internally that thing happens. Okay, it will be converted back to decimal number. Okay, so this is your C out. Okay, right, this is your this bitwise operator. Now what about this assignment operator? What will be the output of last step? So you will get output as sum and then C equal to. Now you might be thinking, what is C? C is defined here. C is 0. Okay. Now what will be the answer? So I didn't get bitwise operator. The bitwise operator works on a bit level. Okay, so if something is that written in, let's suppose you have A and its value is 6, it will be converted into binary. You will get an answer as 100, because what is the binary of 6? It is 110 124, right? This is the binary of 6. And now what happens? I'm doing a bitwise OR with same number, right? Because this is A and B and both A and B are 6. So again you will have 110. So if any of the bits is 1, you will get your answer as 1. Either apart from that you will get 0. So here you will get 0, here you will get 1, here you will get 1. Again this number is converted into what? Decimal, which is nothing but 6. So that is why you get your output as 6 here. And in this case, the next case, A and B, you again have 110, and this time around you're doing AND, and again with same itself, right? So this time around you will get 0, 1 and 1, right? Because both the bits are 1, right? Again, this is something that is in binary. You will get converted, it will get converted into decimal, that is 6. So again you will get your output as 6. Okay, so this time around what happens over here? C is 0, and since you are doing, this is something that is equivalent to C equal to C plus A, which is nothing but 0 plus 6, which is nothing but 6. So you will get your output as 6. Okay, cool. So now let's move ahead. Now let's talk about string library. Okay, we have several functions that are present in there, and that is why we are including this. Why? What are we including? This C string, right? In this you will have these functions available, right? strcat. So strcat is nothing but concatenation. You're concatenating two strings, right? So if I'm doing str c1 and c2, you have a character array, right? and you have second character array. In this you have grade, and in this you have learning. So when we are concatenating it, what will be the output here? Quickly, guys. Yes, Shoaib. There is a full course on C++ that is available on our academy. Just register yourself and go through it. Okay. This is just to give you uh, what a good prerequisite for that course. It will help you a lot. So basically, so that it is easier for you then to learn something new. Okay. So just register yourself, go through it. Yes, the output will be great learning. And you see, there is something that we did intentionally. What? There is a space here. So that is why you get great and then a space, then learning. Okay. Else you will get great learning without space. Okay. Rajkumar, are you able to understand? So intentionally we have given a space over here. Okay. Is this thing clear? This is the thing that I wanted you guys to understand. So just don't see, these are some questions that are asked, right? So just to check whether you are able to understand, whether you are able to visualize the thing that is there, right? So there's a space, a small space that is there. So that is why you won't get great learning that is without space. All of you are wrong, right? Maximum of you are wrong. Okay. And some of you are writing G in lowercase. That is not the case. G is in capital and L is in capital. Okay. Then what happens over here? Is this in clear? Right? Now what happens in this copy? Here str copy is used to copy the content of one string into another. So C1 is the new string and C2 is the string, and its content will be passed on to C1. So we are copying the content that is present in C2 and passing it on to C1. So what will be the answer here? Yes, Kashyap. Okay, cool, guys. So quickly, just confirm. Is this thing clear? What will be the output here? So you are just copying it. You won't get any output. Now, if you want to see the output, in that you need to understand that you just need to print out C1 and C2. You will find the answer. Okay. Now both of these strings will have same content. Okay. Cool. Now what happens in this strcmp? This is used for comparing two strings. Right. Here you are comparing ABC and B. So what happens if both the strings are equal, right? In that case, you will get your output as 0. But, okay. Yes, space learning. Okay. So what happens over here? If both the strings are equal, at that time you will get 0. If space is included. Yes, Kashyap. Yes. Here you see space is included, right? So now if you see string, when both of these strings are equal, you will get 0. If ABC or the S1 or string 1 is greater than string 2, at that time you will get positive output. You will get 1 as your output. Else if S1 is less than S2, in that case you will get negative value, that is -1. Okay, right? This is this compare function strcmp. And finding out the character in this, you can easily find out if A is present in this or not. Okay. And for calculating the length, that means you will be returning the length of this string. You will get 3 as your output because ABC is of 3 length. Okay. So that is strlen. Okay. Similarly, you have strrev. That means you're reversing the string, uppercase to lowercase. So all these functions are available. Okay. Okay. Now let's move ahead and let's see some math libraries. So you have some libraries wherein you can find the square root of a number. So you have this short int, right? And this is si equal to si is the name of the variable, and you have it 100, and you're just trying to find out the square root of this. So it will be 10 because it is something that is written in this fashion, right? So you can write 100 as Hamza says 3. Yes, 3. So in this case, it will be 10 square, that is 100. When you're doing the square root of this, square and root will be cancelled, and you will get your output as 10. Okay. So this is sqrt, the function that we can use, and you similarly you need to include this math library so that you can use this sqr power li. So now you will have something li. Li is nothing but this number, that is 1300, and what you're doing, li, that is your 1300 raised to power 3. Okay, so you will get that output. Similarly, sine, absolute value, floor, uh, square root, power, all these things are available. You see, 1300 raised power 3, you will get your output in terms of this app, whenever you are having 10 raised power something, this is the output. You will get your output in this form. Okay, so sine d, that is the sine value of this. Okay, you will get your output as it is, minus 6.3. now absolute value, you see, there will be a negative number, that is minus 1000. When you do absolute value, it will convert its negation, it will just multiply it by minus 1. That is what absolute does. Okay, but it always changes your negative value to positive value, not the other way around, changing positive into negative. Okay, just changing your negative value into positive value. Okay, similarly, you have floor value. If you see, I'm using floor on d, the variable d is there, which is 200.347, right? So now I'm using the floor value, so that is 200.347, or 200.347. You see the d, and here you have d 347. So this will be negated because I'm using the floor value, so it will go on the lower side. Lower side is 200. Now if I'm using the ceil value, it will go to 201, it will go on the greater side. Okay, yes, you can go through Balaguruswamy, Yeshwant Kanetkar is there, right? Then once you are done with basics of C++, there is a book that is known as Test Your C++ Skills. You should definitely go for that. Okay, that is one of the best books. It is named as Test Your C++ Skills. Okay, so this is floor means lower side. So even if it is greater than the point, it is greater than 0.5, that means it is 200.6, still it will go on the floor side. Okay, it will go on the lower end, not the upper end. Okay, so finally you have d raised power 2, which is nothing but 200 something, that 200.347 raised power 2, and you will get your output as this. Okay, okay, cool. So now let's move ahead with the Boolean values. Okay, so what about this Boolean? So Boolean is another data type that is written as, the data type is written as bool, and then you have the simple program wherein you will say machine is working, and you will set it as true. Okay, now since if the machine is working, what you do, you will print out true. Is the machine working? Yes, it is. So you will the output will be true. But what if after some time the machine is broken down? At that time you will just update it and make it as false, and that time around machine has stopped working. Now its value is what? False, right? So this is what a Boolean does. It is used to check whether your value is true or false. Okay, so it has several other test cases as well for checking out the whether the function, whether a is greater than b, then it is written as true, whether b is greater than c. All right, so all those things can be done with the help of this Boolean data type. Okay, cool. Okay, okay, so do you have any questions regarding this? This is simple stuff, guys, right? Can I should I move ahead, as we are running out of time? So I want to conclude this conditional statements as well. So you have this conditional statements wherein we are just using this. I'm not using the entire program, I'm just walking you through this code. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are checking if this is the block, and how you write it, if, and then the name of the variable. You now understand how to write how to initialize a variable and b variable. So you're checking if a is greater than b, right? If a is greater than b, okay, now a is greater than b, then you're checking if a is greater than c. Okay, if a is greater than c, now that means that a is greater than b as well as c, that means a is the greatest. So that is what is written. But what if this condition is true, right? A is greater than b, but a is not greater than c. That means obviously that means b is greatest, right? Okay, we have some questions. Okay, sir, will you take classes continuously? Yeah, it depends. Okay, it depends about we'll see. We have courses available as well in C as well as in C++. Okay, so you can just go through it, register yourself, and then you will get all the course details, okay, that are there. Now what you will do, you will check, okay, is this the case that A is not greater than B? That then you will check if B is greater than C. If that is the case, okay, now if that is the case, right, this else is done, right? Now if A is not greater than B, if A is not greater than B, then you're checking if B is greater than C. Is B greater than C? Yes, it is. Then B is the largest. Else C is the largest. Okay. Is this thing clear? So this is nothing but a program of, obviously it can be written in several other ways as well. So we only have if block over here, right? We only have if block over here. So what if I wrote else part in this and I wrote if A is not greater than C, then I will beat what I will do. I will just write an else and I will write C out, and then I will write what C is the greatest. Obviously, why? Because if A is greater than B, right? A is greater than B, and then I'm checking if A is greater than C. Now A is not greater than C, that means C is the greatest. Okay, that will be held with this part, with this else part. Okay, okay. And if this block is not executed, that is this block is false, that A is not greater than B, that means A is smaller than B, then I need to check if B is greater than C. If B is greater than C, that means B is the greatest. Okay, so this is basically a program to calculate the greatest number, or you can say the greatest among three values A, B and C. Okay, this is how you write it with the help of if and else if statements. Okay, so just be cautious when you're dealing with if else statements, because you might be getting errors, something that is written as token, missing token, or else part is missing, if part is missing. So you have to be cautious. There cannot be else part without if. Okay, but vice versa is true. If can work alone even if there is not else part, right? In this case, if you see, there is if, but there is no else of this. Okay, but if this is if is present, only then this else can be there. You cannot just if this thing is not there, you can just directly write else part. Okay, then you will get an error. Okay, okay guys, so this is it from this session. I hope you enjoyed this session, and if you have any doubts, just write it in the chat. Else we will be concluding this session. And if you guys want to learn more regarding C++, there is a course available on our academy. Just go through it. At the starting of this session, I walked through our academy. Therein you will have all the courses available. And if you want to know what are the coming live sessions and what is there we are putting up in the next week, those will be also available on our academy. Okay, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button and share it with your friends as well. Okay, cool guys. So I cannot see any questions. Will you teach oops? Oops, all those things are covered in a session in our just go through our academy, register to that. The oops is also covered in that. Also, you will get a completion certificate as well at the end. You just have to answer 6 questions correctly and you will get the certificate. Okay, completion certificate. Okay, thank you so much guys. Thanks a lot guys.